Have you ever wondered how we went from cavemen to creating civilizations? Thousands of years ago in the Paelithic era, we nomad humans were solely hunters and gatherers. Hunters being trackers who slayed animals to feast on, while scatterers scavenged through the land plucking at plants and fruits. This wasn't a consistent food source. Some days would be spent in hunger, creating flaws in survival. That was until we started agriculture. At the time, the Ice Age passed, where we domesticated wolves with more friendly hormones. That's when the Ice Age melted, causing the climate to stabilize. Then we farmed, permanently settled, domesticated other animals, and started the Neolithic Revolution. To begin with, several positives lie within agriculture. For example, a grand part of the Neolithic era was farming. Planting our own crops finally established a much more consistent food source, something proven scarce in the Paleolithic era. These harvests, otherwise known as surpluses, produced a much more productive food source compared to hunting. A consistent food source such as this led to the increase of the global population. Due to farming increasing popularity worldwide, tools were created to plow the earth, just as irrigation was used to control water more effectively and efficiently. In addition, due to farms, people started building permanent settlements along the farms. Said settlements sheltered us from the harsh weather and had comfort. Furthermore, another fragment of the Neolithic Revolution was animal domestication. Said animals, like horses and donkeys, could be used to plow the earth, a task much more laborious for humans. Adding on to that, animals could also provide dairy products like milk, whilst delivering bones, hide, fur, meat, and more when slaughtered. Next, with the increasing amounts of food, more surpluses now specialists could form. For not everyone had to be a farmer. With different wool settling, hiarchies started, for some people could afford more grain and beer than others, thus making them superior. Moreover, with the development of hiarchies, more order and balance could settle in civilizations. Despite the importance, many flaws resided in agriculture. For example, in farming, even crops were unpredictable at times, for weather was tricky, and a simple drought or flood, something even irrigation had trouble fixing, could destroy the food source we relied upon, creating famine. For instance, in the present, Madagascar is tormented at the brink of collapse due to a lack of rain in the past years. Furthermore, crops were not the best nutrition to begin with. For instance, they were not varied. Farmers were restricted with what grew in the area, thus diets were often unbalanced. In fact, most crops lacked proper protein and were scarce in vitamins. For example, in China, they had a diet of rice, but rice lacked sufficient protein and diminished vitamin A. Also, even if all went well, eventually the crops would finish the soil's nutrients, forcing the farmers to move to another plain to farm, often causing them to chop entire forests solely for the land. Additionally, animal domestication too posed a threat, for with constant animal interaction, diseases spread, like a cow's disease that passed on to humans. Even now, 75% of diseases are due to animals. Moreover, before, when a disease fell onto nomads and hunters and gatherers, there were little groups to infect, and the disease would eventually run out of victims and die. But with agriculture, a disease never ran out of victims. The last reason is, if people ran out of nutrients in their soil, it was hard to restart a farm, so they would often raid other farmers for land, creating the early wars. Agriculture is the root of civilization, the aspect that differentiates us from others in the animal kingdom. The consequences of agriculture is our development, pros and cons.